Hey everyone, this is my progress vlog for week 3. Since this week's topic is on womanism, third world feminism, and race, Stephen wanted me to answer these two questions. The first question is how my race and my gender are inextricably linked, I can't talk, and how I experience race as a, in this case, white woman. And the second question is, how do I support racism in everyday life? As for the first question, I have more privilege than women of color just by being white. As I mentioned in the pre-hangout vlog for liberal feminism, I mentioned that I have the choice to grow out my leg hair because, well, one, it's not even really that noticeable, but because it's seen as progressive and edgy. But many women of color grow thicker leg hair than I do, and if they were to grow it out, they would be met with scorn and told that they were gross and it was unhygienic. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that if I transgress any gender norms, it's seen as progressive and cool, and I might get support with that. And I have more of a voice in mainstream feminism, whereas women of color aren't met with the same support, nor do they have their own say. They typically don't really have, and typically people don't really listen to them even in feminist spaces. True story, when I told my coworker Alex as she was leaving her shift this early afternoon what my video was going to be about, she was like, people make a big deal out of nothing. Racism just doesn't tie into feminism at all. Ugh. By the way, I really gotta say that I am really starting to dig on Audre Lorde because it was her piece, An Open Letter to Mary Daly, in This Bridge Called My Back, that made me... I'm not saying her language is simple as in it's dumb, but it's easy to read and comprehend and go along, and it's not as intimidating as a lot of the academic jargon you'd expect in feminist discourse. And, you know, now if anyone asked me what womanism was, I would be able to say to them that it's more inclusive than liberal feminism that fails to acknowledge the significant contributions, there we go, of women of color to feminism, while womanism provides a safe space for women of color within feminism. As for supporting racism in everyday life, I'm not perfect. I've been guilty of racist thought. When I do support racism, it's more passively, like if someone says something racist, I'll normally won't say anything just because I'm not a confrontational sort of person. For example, I went to my cousin's wedding over the weekend, and while I do like my cousin and his new wife, I'm not a big fan of my dad's cousin-in-law, John, who says a lot of stupid things, but he gets even worse when he's drunk, like at the reception. And I remember him saying, I don't even know how he got on this tangent, but he actually said that by African Americans calling themselves as such, they're the segregationists. So what you're saying is that it's black people's fault that people are racist against them? You know, it was a loud party, I was cranky, I didn't want to say anything, and you know, nobody else really said anything either. That is a way that I support it. I don't mean to, and I wish I had the courage to speak up when people did say stuff like that. So now it has been a little over 2 weeks since I last shaved my armpits. Tuesday was my 2 weeks anniversary, and this is what it looks like now. Look at that! It's starting to curl! Oh my god! Because I have to wear more conservative clothing for my job, I haven't really given a lot of people outside my family an opportunity to say anything about my armpits. But I did ask my boss, Virginia, I asked her if I could interview her for this class on Tuesday, and when I was wearing one of my tank tops for work and forgot to put my cardigan back on in front of her. Oops. And, you know, I went ahead and showed her, like, hey, what do you think about women with armpit hair? Then she looked at me kind of weird, like, and I said, you don't have to worry about hurting my feelings, and we can do this on Friday. And she said, Yeah, of course, I don't want to do this on the spot. Now, today is Friday, and I didn't realize until after I got home from work not too long ago that we didn't do the interview. Either she forgot or she didn't want to do it. I mean, she did look uncomfortable when I asked her the first time, so I don't think she's digging on it, but my body, my choice. As for my annotated bibliography, it's been a bit of a slow start because I've been having trouble connecting it to postmodern feminism, and because I've been really busy with work at the library. One thing that I learned that was interesting was that now I haven't found a scholarly article to corroborate this, but word of mouth suggests that the reason why women started shaving their armpits, at least in the United States, is because in the early 1900s or 1910s, a magazine or a catalog published an ad where there was a girl looking all stylish and junk, but there wasn't any armpit hair here. And so, you know how powerful media is. It told other women, like, oh, in order to be pretty, graceful, stylish, whatever, I need to have bare armpits. And it just kind of went on from there. So it was another way to, so therefore it was another way to sell another product. Now here we are with a multi-million or multi-billion dollar cosmetics injury where a bunch of old white men are making profit off of women's insecurities. Like, screw that! This concludes this week's video. See you guys on Wednesday.